be ranking every single Black Ops game on a tier list. Now we're gonna go over the campaign, the multiplayer, and the third mode for each game to determine which was the best one. Also, at the end of this video, we're gonna predict what Black Ops 7 is gonna be on this tier list as well. Let's dive in. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we start off with Black Ops 1. Yes, this game somehow came out 15 years ago, 2010. I still remember the release day. I still remember going to GameStop and lining up. And man, I mean, what a game. What an iconic game. I feel like sometimes that this is my favorite one in the series just because of the whole entire package. I mean, let's talk about first the campaign. I mean, the brainwashing, the moment you honestly, even the main menu, like you boot into the game and it feels like the main menu is just setting the tone for the game right away. You're confused on what's going on in the window. You're confused why you're even in the chair in the first place. The music in the background, very unsettling. And then really, like, when you click campaign, it just kind of throws you right into it, where it feels like it almost starts from where you're at. And I feel like that's such an important lost art when it comes to main menus and just bringing the entire vibe of the game into that. You know, after you play the campaign, like, wow, you're some brainwashed agent and they're trying to figure out what's going on and you're strapped to the chair because of that. And I think the campaign for me, you know, obviously coming off a little bit of the World at War with Reznov being in it, it was such a good, I say this and I mean it with every bone in my, what's the word for that? I don't even know the saying, to be honest with you, but this campaign, not only do I think it's the best campaign in Call of Duty, it's one of my favorite campaigns that I've ever played. Now, have I played a lot of those? No, not really, but I just absolutely loved it. It has such good replay value, the twists, and the iconic missions. So good. So the campaign, phenomenal. Multiplayer wise, I just feel like this one was it was just so good. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like Treyarch's multiplayers. You know, at the time, their hit rate was a little funky, and I remember them kind of really nerfing quick scoping in Black Ops 1. But at the same time, I'm not a sniper, so I was enjoying my life. You know, I was getting to sprint around with the AK-74U and just really enjoying every little bit of it and making snipers mad, honestly. And I mean, we got Nuketown from this game. We got Firing Range from this game. We got Summit from this game. The guns, the Galil, the AK-74U, the Commando, the MP5 was even good. It was such a good game. The only, of course, downside of this game was Ghost, and that was unfortunate because you didn't have to move. You didn't show up on the radar. A lot of Ghost users out there, but there was always the SR-71 that you could unlock. There was dogs. The streaks actually did something in this game. So good. Chopper gunner. I mean, we all can remember that combo of like dog, chopper gunner, SR-71 if you were really feeling yourself. So really the only complaint in the multiplayer is Ghost. I'm sure, again, if you're a sniper guy, you might be a little frustrated, but it is what it is. And again, this brought in so many things too that kind of revolutionized Call of Duty a little bit with the party game modes, with gun game, one in the chamber, played those so much. And then you had, of course, the COD points, the good ones. And it was just fun to unlock your guns that way, the face paints. And then you could bet these COD points within the game. Just an awesome change of pace and bringing something unique to the table. I love the multiplayer, man. I really did. And then zombies. I mean, how can we forget it, man? Dolphin diving down the steps. It was so much fun. I felt like overall package, World at War might be my favorite zombies, but Black Ops 1 is right behind it. You know, we had so many iconic maps and, you know, just circling the stage in the first ever zombies map, diving down the steps. I loved it. Obviously 5 was another map that came in, and just that end cutscene at the end of the campaign was so cool. Overall package for Black Ops 1, I have to give it an A. I mean, am I insane? I don't think so. The only really downside of this game for me was ghost camping. And, you know, the hit rate at the time is a little bit funky connection wise, but overall, it brought just so much to the table. So it's gotta be A. It has to be. Next up is Black Ops 2. Now, some consider this to be the greatest Call of Duty of all time, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm probably team BO2. A lot of people think MW2. I am team BO2. This game pretty much does exactly what BO1 does, and it just kind of makes it just a little bit better. Now, the only thing that I would say with this game is the campaign, number one, the campaign is amazing. It is top tier. I still think I like BO1's campaign better. Now, what BO2 brought, I really like the option of having multiple kind of choices that you could make, and then each of those affect the story. And, you know, you can shoot Mason, or you can not shoot Mason, or kill Mason and not kill Mason. And then, you know, there's the end cutscenes where you got Frank Woods playing the guitar and Jimmy Kimmel. And I just kind of love that kind of factor in Call of Duty. I love the option to choose where you're going with this. And then there's replay value there as well, where you're like, oh, I could have went back and done that mission again where I did this instead. And there's a couple things that we talked about, me and Chop, during the podcast. It's been a while now between that episode, but there is a level where you walk to the backyard and you're like meeting, I can't remember who you're meeting back there, but it's the level where you walk back into the backyard and you like drink a beer and you're all hanging out before you go do this mission. And I feel like in that game, it was like something you actually physically did. Like you controlled the guy going back there. I know that's not anything crazy, but it just brings immersion into the game. And like nowadays, it's just like, oh, this is going to be a Marvel like cutscene here. And yeah, it looks great, but it kind of takes you out of the game because you're like, oh, it's a cutscene. I'm just going to chill here. That putting you into that situation, I just loved. And obviously Raul Menendez, awesome bad guy. Frank Woods, you know, Mason. It's just a great iconic cast, and a bunch of crazy twists and turns in that one as well. So BO2 campaign, amazing. Now multiplayer, we're just going to continue this. This is, I mean, Treyarch's in their bag at this point. Party modes return. They're great. Again, iconic guns in these multiplayers. You have the AN-94, MSMC, the M8, the DSR, so many things. And even like the Peacekeeper coming in as a DLC weapon, which, you know, that obviously set us off in a kind of an area where it got a little weird. But, you know, they did it proper, I think, back in BO2. And so you had so many iconic guns. The guns were so fun to use. A very balanced COD, I would say, too, where, you know, I kind of go back and forth with like, okay, should there be overpowered weapons or should there be like semi-balanced? I feel like all the guns felt good and all the guns were like usable. You could use the PDW. You could go use the MP7. You could use the MSMC. Multiple options compared to nowadays Call of Duty, which we'll get into with BO6. It's like use one gun and that's about it. And again, you're bringing in iconic maps again in this game. You got Raid, Standoff, Slums, Yemen's in this game, Meltdown, like so many good ones. Of course, they brought back Nuketown 2025 and Firing Range's Studio, all fantastic. And then the thing that really got me into competitive Call of Duty was the introduction of League play. And for me, I mean, listen, this was like 4v4, hardpoint, search and destroy, capture the flag. And you really learned that there was a competitive nature and competitive scene in Call of Duty. I started watching Nate Shot, I started watching Scump and Ali A and T Martin, and this kind of just got me on that realm of like, oh wow, you can do something in video games as a career. Now at that time, back in 2012, I had absolutely no idea what to do. I was an idiot. I should have recorded videos back then, but I had no idea what I was doing. But again, that just introduced me and brought that passion into something that I just really loved and enjoyed. So now, you know, fast forward 10 years later, 10 years later, you know, I'm creating for a professional Call of Duty team, Boston Breach. So it's cool how that interlocked and that kind of set me off to that course. And then finally, zombies. I'm gonna say it. I loved the map Transit. I did. I am I'm not a hater. I thought it was fun. The amount of memories I had with my buddies getting on the bus and leaving them behind, and they're running through the flames and the smoke and the fog, and they're getting attacked by the denizens, and we're all laughing, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and it's just like, it's just good times, man. And even the Nuketown zombies was kind of fun. So I didn't play much zombies after that. Now, the one that I did play, Buried, man. I'm gonna be honest. Buried is probably my favorite zombies of all time. I'm gonna say it. It may be a weird pick to some, but I played Buried zombies more than any zombies out there. It was that and Transit, just back and forth. So I don't remember the other ones. I don't, for some reason. I know there was one where you could like fall down a cliff in like the first level. I just didn't really care for that one, to be honest. I don't, was it Derise or something like that? I don't know. I'm not a zombies guy, but Buried, I do know that one. So overall, I mean, I know we're doing A through F. So, I mean, obviously Black Ops 2, it's an A. Do I think it's in front of BO1? Yes. So slide BO2 in front of BO1. Yes, that's good. Okay, this one, this is a weird one for me because I really don't know how to rank it when I'm gonna break down everything. Black Ops 3. Actually, as the day of recording this, apparently it is now 10 years old today as of recording this video. So it released 11/6/2015. That's shocking, by the way. Now, this was the era of jetpacks, and you know, in an era of jetpacks, I felt like this Call of Duty did it the proper way. I've tweeted it multiple times. Go follow me, T-Dog Smitty, on Twitter. I tweeted it the other day when I went back and played it. We just did a live stream. We kind of revived it. It plays so well. It's a jetpack COD, but it doesn't feel twitchy. It feels very, I don't even know the word. Just feels very smooth. Like the jetpack, you don't go too crazy high. The sliding's not like spammed all over the place. And it's just a very good, solid jetpack Call of Duty. If they're gonna do jetpacks again, I think this is how they should do it. The wall running was fun. But we're not here to talk about that. We got to talk about the campaign first. Yeah, that's terrible. And I know my boy Chop, he's like, hey man, there's like hey, it's not that bad. Like there's some things that you got to think about. And maybe now with BO7 coming out, it's going to like tie into all this stuff. Maybe it'll make more sense when we go back and play it one of these days. Oh man, I have tried to play that campaign so many times. It is so freaking bad. I can't stand it. I don't know what their plan was for it. But it wasn't for me. It just was not for me. At least it was co-op. That's the good news. Other than that, I don't have much to say. It was co-op. There was like a bonus mode with like zombies as a different storyline. Not good. Okay, guys, just not good. If there's anybody out there that enjoyed the Black Ops 3 campaign, comment down below right now. Now, multiplayer wise, this is going to be an insane statement by B. But I think 10 years later, I think I'm ready to say it. This may be my favorite multiplayer in the series. I know you're gonna go, this dude is absolutely losing it. And maybe I am, you know, I might be actually, but this game multiplayer wise was so good. Now, again, the maps in this game, so good, bright, vibrant, just so many good ones. By the way, Fringe is probably my favorite map in Call of Duty history, or one of them. And we're going to talk about that again in the BO6 title, or game. The way they butchered that is disgusting. But there was so many good maps. Hunted, you know, Infection, it just evac. I love the, and Nuketown 2025, or I'm sorry, 2035, or what year were we? 2065. I don't know what year we were. That is my favorite Nuketown as well. The way it was just so vibrant, colorful, the way they did the wall run on the left side, it just was a perfect adoption of jetpacks with Nuketown, and it still felt clean and simple to play. It didn't feel so chaotic and all over the place like it feels like nowadays. I also really like the Specialist. I thought it brought a brand new flavor to Call of Duty that, you know, hadn't been something that we were kind of craving that. You know, again, jetpacks was something new. They brought the Specialists. And even though I wasn't a fan of the guns being behind supply drops, and there was paid supply drops, which we're gonna have to mark this game down because of that, they were fun to get, and it was something fun to grind for. Like, you would get those crypto keys, you would open a supply drop, you would have a chance of getting a gun or a melee weapon, and it kind of just spiced up the game a little bit. And talking about guns, again, we have some iconic guns. Man of War, M8, I mean the Cuda, the VMP, the Locust. Talk to him, man. Talk to him a little bit. Everything about this, I felt like it just was a fresh take on Call of Duty. They did a great job. And again, going back to the Specialist, I feel like that brought a replay value where you can turn the tide with these Specialists. I always pictured a few games, looking back on a few games, you know, hey, we're down whatever, 150 to 100 in domination, and you go on a little bit of a streak, and then you get your Annihilator and you get a bunch of kills, and that feeds your kill streaks, and then you change the entire game because you get a wraps, and it just changes everything. You get it's not an SR-71, it was called a hater or something in that game. That might not be right, I can't remember, but you know, the Doritos, the bag of Doritos, everybody called them the Dorito chips or something like that, and it just would change the game. And I felt like that's the thing that multiplayer is missing nowadays, is people like a story within the game, and that created a story. You got that, you got your streaks, you can flip-flop the match very quickly. So multiplayer, just absolutely amazing product. Zombies is something that I have to admit to you guys, I really only played the first map, Shadows of Evil. Absolutely loved it, thought it was great. By this time though, I was just kind of burnt out on zombies. It's kind of it is what it is. And I know everybody's gonna be like, wow, you were burnt out on zombies. Yeah, I kind of was. I think I played BO2 zombies so much, and then BO3 kind of got into that weird story where it was all over the place. I always say this, I watched my brother play zombies, and I went down, I was watching him play, and he was on that one map where you're in like outer space in the ether, and there's like a random alien flying by, and I hadn't played in like, you know, a couple years. I'm like, what have they done? But now looking back on it, it probably was super fun to play. But yeah, I was out, man. So overall, multiplayer amazing, zombies was very good. The two things that really hurt this game is campaign being terrible and the supply drops. So for that, it would be an A probably, but you're gonna subtract two things. I'm gonna go B+, but it's like an 89. You know, it's like an 89 product. The multiplayer really carried this one for me. Well, guys, we had to do it, man. We had to do it. It's Black Ops 4. I gotta be honest with you, I hated this game. I really did. I don't know why. It just did nothing for me. Obviously, starting off, crushing my spirits because I am an older Call of Duty player. Not having a campaign to dive into right away and learning like the story, you know, it really hurts. Like I said, BO3, it hurt the ranking because there was no the campaign sucked. Now there's no campaign at all. And that is just a bad move. Now, I know it was under the pressure of Activision. It's not really the devs' fault. And with this, they had to go make a third mode called Blackout instead of campaign. Now, we'll get to Blackout. Multiplayer, I just felt like everything was a step down. Now, there's rumors that this game was supposed to be a jetpack Call of Duty at one point, and you can kind of tell. It felt like the maps were kind of built for that semi kind of movement. It felt like the Specialists returning, you know, that was their style of game. The 150 health, I have to say, I like the 150 health. I did not like the stim. So 150 health is great because it allows you, you know, you have to be a better player because you have to hit more shots. But the problem was you could hit somebody down to 1 HP and they could stim and come right back out and fight you again. And it's just like, that is where it was just a little bit too much. I really felt like they were like going for Overwatch in this game. Call of Duty always tends to steal one or two things from a game to test out and see if it works. This felt like they were trying to do Overwatch in multiplayer. They brought in the 5v5 instead of 4v or what was it, 5v5, or that was competitive. It was 5v5 and competitive. And it just felt like it was just too much going on. And gun wise, there were some good guns. The SOG, the Paladin. But the reason I know those is from Blackout. And so multiplayer, I have to be honest, I kind of quit the multiplayer. I was in my battle royale era at this point. Fortnite had just come out, and Blackout was obviously out. So I was kind of rotating between those. I had kind of taken a break from multiplayer. And so I think the multiplayer product was very bad. The only thing that I will say is there was a ton of content to grind in the multiplayer, and the camos were very, very good. But other than that, I wasn't a fan. Zombies wise, I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I was completely burnt out with zombies. I didn't play zombies at all. Like, I don't have a single memory of playing zombies in Black Ops 4. The only reason I know what some of the maps are now is because I've revisited them in older videos and played every zombies map. What was it? The Ancient of Evil one? That's actually pretty good, where you're in like the Coliseum. Actually, I don't think that's what it's called. It's called like 5 or something, or 6, or that is a good zombies map. So I kind of wish I would have played it back then, but I was just kind of tired of it. But Blackout, that's my jam, man. I thought Treyarch did a phenomenal job. If there was no Blackout on this game, it would have been the worst Call of Duty maybe ever. But Blackout, I'm telling you guys, the Blackout map is the best battle royale map maybe ever in gaming. It had so many iconic maps in it. It flowed well. It was great, colorful scheme. And I love the way they did the loadouts. There's a couple things that weren't that great. The armor system wasn't great. Maybe picking up all the attachments wasn't great. But I love that they didn't do loadouts. I love that they just did, you had to find the stuff on the ground. Because I think what's the problem with Warzone and even the Battlefield BR is everybody just rushes to go get their loadout. Warzone is now a get your loadout simulator as quickly as possible. And this was like, hey, let's go try to find the KN-44 or the MOG shotgun. And if you did, you're like, holy crap. And again, that benefits the player that can't play 40 hours a week. They play at 8 o'clock at night for an hour. And it's like, well, I don't have my guns ranked up. I ain't gonna play this game. And so I just thought they did a great job. I would have loved to see them support it for longer, but of course Warzone comes out and then just, you had to pay for this product. It wasn't free. It wasn't cross-play. And they supported it for like 6 months. And I still have such great memories with it. So overall product, I got to put BO4 in like a D tier. I really do. I'm sorry, man. If there's no Blackout, it's an F- for me. It really is. So Blackout was that good that it brought it up to like a D+. Now we have Cold War. And this is an interesting one. This is also another tough one because this one was made during the pandemic. And all the developer, there's a weird timeline with this one, man. It's like Raven, I think, was originally doing it. And then they had disagreements with how they wanted to do it with Activision and somebody else maybe. And then Activision says, hey, Treyarch, finish this product. And you can kind of tell, they came in here and picked up the scraps, and it felt like this game, alongside having been released and developed inside of a pandemic, it really was a tough one. It's a tough one, and it's kind of sad because the base is actually kind of good. Now, for me, we can start with the campaign like we've been doing. This is one of the better campaigns in the series. I really believe that. Again, it gave you multiple choices. There was a little twist at the end where you could betray, or you could kind of, help your teammates. And then obviously with Bell at the, or not, was it Bell? I got all these people confused now. Case, right? Case or Bell? Anyway, either way, Adler, and by the way, Adler is such an iconic character. The fact, we'll get to it. In Cold War, he is so good. He is so good. And in only being in one Call of Duty, he's actually an awesome character that I wish they would use more. But overall, the campaign, the spy kind of genre, the multiple ways to choose how to kind of play. There was a couple like spy missions, which I just love. I just love that so much. Um, campaign was, like I said, one of my favorite in the series, probably right behind 1 and 2, which is not that hard, but it's closer than you would think is kind of what I'm saying. Now, multiplayer wise, this one's tough for me, man, because there's so much to dissect with this. Obviously, the game launched with like 6 maps, and that is never good. You got to have content for people to play. So that became very stale very quickly. I know it's an arcade Call of Duty. I know it's kind of what Call of Duty was more than MW19, but I was so used to the MW19 movement and weapons and gameplay and sound because I'd been playing MW19 and Warzone. And when Cold War came out, I was just kind of like, ugh. I kind of liked the way and I've said it on the channel multiple times, I liked the way MW19 felt. I'm not saying the game was perfect. I just liked the way it felt. And Cold War kind of brought this like arcadey vibe back, which I'm not opposed to, but I think it was so drastic in the timeline that it was like, I don't really like this. And at the time, I was obviously playing Warzone a ton. Everybody was. Rebirth Island comes out. Now, I'll say this. The integration for Warzone with Cold War was amazing. Again, adding Rebirth Island, the MAC-10. Oh, my gosh. The Milano, the XM4, the C58, the Swiss. Oh, what a great era. The 2020, 2021 era of Warzone. Man, it's just special. So multiplayer wise, there was a lot to grind. And some people have said, I would say it as well, by the time the year ended, it was actually a decent multiplayer because of all the content that had come out. But they kind of lost a lot of people in the beginning because of how poor it was. But was that because of the pandemic and the Raven thing? Probably. So it's just kind of a tough situation to be in. And then zombies, lastly, I just hate the way they've done modern zombies. I can't stand the plating. I can't stand the point system. I can't stand the exfil that they added into. Why do you want to exfil in zombies? Isn't the point to survive? Like, as long as you can? What are you going to do? 10 rounds in that exfil? What are we doing there? So I did like the first map, but after they introduced these new mechanics, I'm just like, I'm good, man. I ain't playing this no more. So overall product for Cold War, I'm going to be kind of nice because of where it's at and what happened and how well they integrated Warzone and how well the campaign, I like the campaign. I'm going to go C tier. And that's just because terrible launch multiplayer wise. The arcadey feel I kind of didn't like after MW19, and then the zombies, the modernizing zombies, I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Now we get to Black Ops 6, and man, this has got to be one of the most disappointing Call of Duties I've ever played in my entire life. The hype for this game, when I went to COD Next and we were in DC, and we were in like the Black Ops vibe. I remember all the commercials and, you know, the Truth Lies campaign. Dude, they had it. They had it in the palm of their hand. And then the product released. And they just, I've never seen a product botched so well. Or so bad. So well, but so bad. And let me say this too. I know a lot of people always argue with me. They're like, well, you said it was good at COD Next. Yeah, because it was good at COD Next. It felt great. The movement mechanics were good. We only had like 2 or 3 maps to play. We had no idea that every single map was going to be the size of, Nuketown. And, we had no idea that there was going to be no content for the game. And the content was going to turn into collabs with Seth Rogen and Beavis and Butthead. And you can't see that when you're playing the game in August. That's not in the forecast. And so what they did with this game, multiplayer wise, I know we usually start with campaign, but I cannot get over what they did to this game. If this game had bigger maps, if this game had no collabs and they kept it like that, again, spy theme like Cold War, it could have been a well-received Call of Duty. The aftermarket parts like MW3 had would have been great. The camos were kind of fun to grind, so it had the base, but the base turned into skeletons very quickly. And so multiplayer wise, I gotta be honest with you, I quit this game by December. I was out on this game by December, which is wild. I'm a Call of Duty creator. You know, it doesn't bode well for me when Call of Duty's down bad and I have to play older games, because there is like a limited audience for that compared to like if there's a new game and it's popping and, you know, everybody's looking at Call of Duty. So that was not good. It was really bad, by the way. And Zombies, will be brief, barely played it, didn't like it, modernized even more. Just, I don't know what it is about Zombies. I keep saying the same thing in all my videos and the podcast. It's like, there's no urgency in these new Zombies. You get your loadout, you have 2 plates or a plate, and you just start shooting zombies right away at a snail's pace. Part of the classic Zombies feel was, holy crap, this is scary. I only have a pistol with limited ammo. I need to get the power turned on. I need to get enough points to get Juggernaut and get enough points to get a good gun. And then I want to hit the mystery box. It doesn't have any of that, because if you get your XM4, you don't even need the mystery box. Who cares? So that is just so annoying to me. And then the campaign to me was just kind of mid, honestly. Like, I know some people liked it. The open world missions I thought were awful. The only thing that was semi-memorable was the zombie mission, but even that, it went a little bit too long. It was like a 45-minute mission. I just remember using the grapple gun. That's about it with that. So mid, and they made Adler and Woods like these side characters that were just like, they were using them for marketing. And then like the main character is like just so forgettable in my opinion. So overall, guys, BO6, this one's gonna hurt, but it's an F. It's an F. And I don't know if anybody's gonna argue in the comments. I really don't. Well, guys, that now brings us to Black Ops 7. And I'm gonna make a quick prediction on this just to see, maybe 6 months down the line or 7 months down the line, we can all laugh at me, or we can all be like, this guy predicted the future, this guy's him. It's gonna be one of the two. We'll revisit it come April, May-ish. That's probably, we may know sooner than that, but I think what's gonna happen with this game is, I'm just gonna be brief here. I think the campaign's gonna be decent. I think it's not gonna be anything, you know, like BO1 or BO2 where it was like, holy crap, that's the best thing I've ever played. I don't even think it's gonna reach Cold War levels. From the rumors, I've heard it's pretty bad actually, but that could change. You never know. Sometimes these rumors are wrong. So that's the good news. I do think the co-op thing might be kind of cool at the end, like these end missions. I'm predicting that to be fun. And hopefully they build off that. So with that, I think campaign's going to be mid. Multiplayer, I think this is going to be the year for multiplayer. I think this is going to be the year they have a ton of content, which they've already kind of showed us. And I hope the collabs stay normal like they've promised. I think that there's going to be a ton of stuff to grind. There's going to be a ton of stuff to grind. Camos, aftermarket parts have been confirmed for this game. And hopefully maybe they bring something else that we can grind in over time. You know, maybe these events aren't so stupid like they were last year. So I think multiplayer is going to be, at the end, received almost like MW3, where you're like, wow, that actually was a good product. You know, maybe we shouldn't have ripped it so hard. And then Zombies, I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be not very good. I didn't really enjoy my time at COD Next playing Zombies. The only hope I have is for that cursed mode or whatever it's called, where it feels like it's back to the OG style with points and, you know, a pistol. But I heard somewhere that it's gonna be shield still, like plates still. I don't want a plate in it. I don't want a plate. I don't. And then I think the last thing sneaky pick wise will be what they do with Blackout. They said that they're gonna bring back Blackout, but will they build off the original Blackout and tweak a few things? And will they tweak it the right way? Like, are they gonna bring loadouts in? If they do that, it ain't Blackout. So don't advertise it as such. So we'll see with Blackout. I have hope for that. I have hope for that new map. It's colorful, it's bright, just like the original one was. There's gonna be map rotation, which is great. So overall, I'm gonna risk my credibility here. I'm gonna go B tier. I'm gonna go B tier. I'm gonna go B minus too. I'm gonna put it at the lower end of B just so I cover my butt a little bit. It's like, oh, I really meant it was C. But let me know what you guys think about my tier list. That is all 7 Call of Duty or Black Ops games. What do you guys think about my tier list? What do you think about my ratings? What do you think about my prediction for Black Ops 7? What is your favorite Black Ops? What is your least favorite Black Ops? Have I asked enough questions? And just a reminder, if you made it this far, I am going to be playing some other games on my second channel, T-Dog 2. There's actually an Arc Raiders video going up today, so if you've been playing that game, I'd appreciate it if you went and watched. And if you want to subscribe over there, that would be great. If you want to subscribe here and like this video, that actually would help me probably a little bit more, to be honest. So thank you guys so much for the support. Black Ops 7 is close, man. And we're going to probably do another tier list for the next video, but that's just a hint, hint, wink, wink, you know? Okay, see you in the next one.